Good evening, Chris Upton in the house. I wonder if you can hear me. I don't know if I can hear myself, to be honest with you. I'm going to go over here for a second and have a look in Facebook and see if I'm on Facebook Live. Can you see me on Facebook, Susan?
No, I've got you here. I can't see you on Facebook.
Where have you got me then? What is this on?
YouTube.
So I'm on YouTube.
Yeah, Tim, Carl, Daniel.
So good evening. Good evening, everybody. So you're on YouTube. On the live, eh? How have you got into it, Sue?
Karen, I just did YouTube. Yeah. Karen said, yes, you're live in both.
Okay. Here it says.
Karen said, yes, you're live in both.
Magic. So we've actually we're last minute for some reason we had a problem. But I can actually see the screen now, everyone. And hi, Chris, are you live tonight? Just in Patreon? No, I'm live on YouTube and Facebook. So I'm just going to go over to Facebook for a second. I can actually see the questions on there. I'm going to see if I can see them better on Facebook. Which Facebook am I on? Which site? Am I on Christopher Upton? Or just a second, everybody. Just having a look. Not in that one. So let's have a look at that one and see if I can see myself on that one. Okay, I can see myself on that one. So if I press that one, technically I should, right, I can see those questions better on Facebook. So I can actually see your questions at the bottom of Facebook better. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to this new setup. Vimeo. Is that Vimto or Vimeo? You tell me. You tell me. So I'm just going to flick this for a second and see if we disappear. If we disappear, don't panic and come back in. Right. So I can't see myself on there. What if it says live video? Am I on there? No. No, don't want to go there. So I'm going to go back to there. Back to there. So right, okay. I've got you all in here now. Paul Jarvis, good evening from Dumfries. Good evening, Simon Spruce. Daniel James Quinn. Martin Pickering is watching. Slow down on the Patreon, can't keep up. This is what everyone's saying. I'm trying to give you good quality, but I just try to stick some stuff up there. What? Daniel James Quinn. Fucking Vimto or Vimeo. See? Vimeo, Vimto. Vimto. In the house. Looking good. Jackie Pitts is watching. Hello, Jackie. So Chris Upton is streaming to Facebook and YouTube. I've got a little bit of a lag on the Vimeo. I can't see any questions on there at all. And yet on my Facebook and YouTube, it's better on my Facebook because the questions are coming up nice and slowly. And as they climb up, I can see them. So any questions tonight? Let me just tell you what we're doing. Number of things we're doing. We've changed the £2 tier. Anybody who came in on the £2 tier will still be in there for 12 months. And you've got a choice. You can still keep that up if you want to. But we're letting you in just to the next level up for the £2 tier. So you won't be able to sign in on the £2 tier next year. It's just the fact that we've worked it out. It's costing me money to do it at such a cheap price with the costs of everything and the amount of interest and commission they take on the sites. So there is 2 tiers that are really serious, and 1 tier is a bit of a laugh there. Anybody wants, anybody who's rich and anybody who's got plenty of money and just thinks that Chris Upton needs a handout, and you want to give us a higher donation, that's up to you. But we're not there to try and make money out of everybody in a silly way. But anybody who's loaded. Kenny Wilton's watching. Hello, Kenny. How are you? So what we're doing is you have to bear with me. I've got that virus, that Chinese thing that's running around the place. Not really. I've got the I had a cold. It is disappearing slightly, and funny enough, I said, "Oh, my cough's stopped now," and I kept looking at what everyone's got to watch out for, and it says first thing you do is watch out for a cough, and then a cold and not feeling very well. Well, I had that as well. Well, wherever you are, I can't find you. Well, that's Soul, so can you sense? Oh, no, I can't send it. So I don't. So Soul can't find me.
Well, everybody else, huh?
And everybody else says, "Doctor in the house," and he can't find me. The problem is if I go off here, where's my other phone? Oh, he's here. So if I come off here for a second and just tell Soul while you're all talking to yourselves, all I've got is man flu. That's what I said, man flu. Anyway, what we've done today, we've been out shopping. Sue's found some bog roll, and she's selling it extra cross. So I'm just going to give Soul a message because he's trying to find me. He gets very, very flustered. So I've just told him, and that's all he has to do. I think so. Everyone got in no problem at all. If you got in no problem at all and you found us no problem, can you tell me, did it actually come up saying that you were going live at a certain time, or did you just come in at 8 o'clock and you found me on Facebook and YouTube? Because I'm only looking at Facebook at the moment, so I can't see your YouTube comments. Sue can. So if anyone's on there, Sue's gonna have to read those questions out to me. Charlie Harwood, should I be using any treats at all with my cocker pup when training? She's 4 months, normally use tennis ball. Well, you can do, but if you don't need to, I wouldn't do it. Use it sparingly. Hello, Kirsty, how are you? I know you're watching Harley, you big dog nerd. All right. Can't find you on YouTube. See, they can't find me on YouTube. You have to go into Christopher Upton and it says live. You don't go into Corleone Gundogs. You don't go into the Corleone Gundogs one. You go into Christopher Upton and it says live. So just came in at 8. There you go. Just came in at 8. It said live now. Yeah. So I set it to come in with 60 minutes to go, and then it just closed down on me for some reason. Said I had to refresh it, and then for some reason I pressed a few buttons and it came. So what are you watching it on, Sue? YouTube. YouTube. Any questions, Sue?
Me?
Secondhand bog roll or no? Is there any questions for me on YouTube? Sue's having a look.
No. Haven't you got it on your iPad?
Well, I'm on.
Chris Wheeler says, "Hi Chris, checked my email yesterday and my inbox had nearly 100 emails from Patreon. You've been a busy bloke."
There you go then, eh?
You should check his email a little bit earlier, huh?
I'm sorry about this, everyone. It seems I'm having to do everything here at the moment. And I would like to come on and answer your questions, but people are asking me. I'm going to ask Sue if there's any questions on. So I'm now going over to YouTube Live to see if I can see anything on there. So I can go in there as well, and I can see your questions on there. It came up that you were live, says Andy. So the people on YouTube, it's a little bit confusing looking at 3 screens. I'm actually looking at 3 screens, and it's not the easiest thing to do. Sometimes the easiest thing to do is just pick one of them. But I'm actually looking at 3 screens at the moment, and I don't know whether we should just go over to YouTube like we used to. We got 43 people watching on YouTube, and we've got 36 people watching on Facebook.
So I've got you on YouTube now.
So I've not got you on my YouTube business page because that's open to the public, but it says here we're live and we're open to the public with the word on there. So we might get a load of rubbish come in from people. Remember last week they were talking about a fridge, and it says it's gone. I've got a earth here, so I don't really care if it happens. That I'll just not take no notice of it. But show hide. I don't know. The message was helpful review. Kevin Evans Dan's gone home. All right, I don't know if we've got moderators still working for us on there. I don't know if they can actually moderate.
You've got nothing, no spanners on YouTube.
No, but I don't know if at the moment we can have spanners on YouTube until we've hit 1,000 subscribers. So that's what I'm saying. We're running literally without spanners at the moment, but not a problem, because you know it's quite difficult to watch these.
We've got a couple of questions on.
I'm nervous about putting the stop on my 11-month-old cocker. Great retrieving with balls, dummies, etc. Shall I leave it a while all gameplay? Well, it all depends, Kerry. It all depends. If the dog's got enough drive, then you need to put the stop on the dog. It's as simple as that. It all depends on whether you've got enough drive. If the dog's not a keen retriever, then don't put the stop on the dog. But 11 months old could sometimes be a great time to put the stop on the dog. Joe Casey, Chris, I've a cocker like Rafa. Thanks to your videos, she has come on great. She struggles marking dummies. Well, the idea is, Joe, if you want to get the dog to mark, you've got to get the dog to run in again. Allowing the dog to run in, as long as you give the verbal cue, get out or fetch as you throw it, or just before you throw it, then the dog learns and gets to the fall. No, we have no spanners on. Like I say, I don't know on here whether I can just ask anyone on here to be a spanner. If I press this button, top chat, some messages of potential spam may not be visible. All messages are visible. Top chat, some messages such as potential spam. So I'll not mess with that because I don't want to switch you all off. I can actually see that. So Charlie Harwood on the other side of the channel on YouTube, Facebook. I've got 2 young children, 2 and 4 years old. We have had a cocker pup for 6 weeks. The novelty is worn off. Right, I can't open that for some reason on here. So hang on, here we go. The novelty has not worn off yet with them. They constantly chase her around and wind her up. Should I keep her separate as I'm training her for the gun dog and worry about impact? Yes, I would, Charlie. I would be very careful with children winding your dog up. You create a monster if you're not careful. There's always got to have time to switch off. You've got to have time for that dog to switch off. It's really important. That's why, you know, a lot of people use a cage or use some utility room or outside kennels. Hello, Natalie. Natalie Cannon is watching. Henry Bailey Hamilton, you actually found us then, no problem at all. Brian Johnson's watching. Fraser Pebbles is watching. Peter Cole is watching. Hello, Peter. Hello, Peter.
Carrie Murray, she said, the 11-month-old cocker, she said, yes, she is very keen, and the tennis game has taken it up a gear very quickly.
Yeah. So what you want to start doing, Carrie, is start putting the stop on the dog. So the dog parks its backside, then gets the retrieve. Parks its backside, then gets the retrieve. So you're using a positive. You're saying to the dog, if you listen to me, park your backside, you can have the retrieve, but you're not having the retrieve till you park your backside. So you're starting off the sit with gameplay. You're teaching the dog, if it sits, you can teach that sit gentle to that dog. And then once the dog understands the language, then you can use a little bit more firmness if you want to. And that's when I use that firmness. And that firmness is what people want to talk about all the time. And they don't want to talk about the 95% fun-based training. The thing is, I see so many dogs here that are suppressed because people haven't got drive into them, because they've gone to trainers who say, oh no, put the sit, the stay, walk into heel and all that into the dog, and then the rest of it will come. I find that if you do that way around, some dogs will make it and some dogs won't. Well, if you do it the way I do it, I have to produce every dog to be a good dog, and that's what happens. Thanks, Chris. I'll work on that. Denver Skinner, Chris, starting to push the lab out further, sometimes losing the mark and looking at me for help. Overhandling. It means your dog's becoming handler reliant. You've obviously got a breakdown in your training, but not yet taught her hand signals. I don't get over that. Well, the idea is that's why we throw dummy after dummy after dummy, and then we get the dummy launcher and we teach the dog to get out to the furthest mark. And once the dog, we don't want the dog to drop its head and start hunting. You want to do it in short grass, not long grass, so the dog gets right out there. Daniel Quinn, he's first building the desire, then he's going to put the stop on you. There you go.
Daniel said, I have a question. When am I coming down again? That's Sol's answer.
I have no idea, Daniel. You're going to have to contact me and tell me. Okay, so any more questions on here? Any more questions? Oh, Andy Hall, 15-month-old lab, male lab, really headstrong. Recall gone shite. Back to basics, just his age. 15 months old. Yeah, break down in the training, perhaps. I find labs are so easy to train, but some of the top guys I've dealt with over the years said, don't rush them. Don't rush them. They're just softer these days. And at the end of the day, you put too much pressure on them, they can fold. Harley Quinn, I've got a video going up tomorrow. Harley Quinn is now retrieving to hand, racing out, racing back. Loves the retrieving. Loves to be inside the conservatory. Loves to be giving it a little bit of large in the conservatory. I want attention. But he loves me now. He comes out and he actually loves me. That's because I'm not with him all the time. He doesn't get everything he wants in life. But when he does come out, he sees me as a real good friend, a mate. I scatter food in the conservatory for him, so he's learning to hunt concrete. It's one of the old tricks that they do. The old guys, when they wanted to sell a dog, and you go around at 6 months old and you see it hunting like a demon and think, wow, that's fantastic. And guess what happens? They've been scattering food all over the floor, and he's hunting concrete. That's how they do it. If you introduce the hunting too soon and you don't get the retrieving into the dog, sometimes the hunting can take over. What is your opinion on health tests, Chris? I think they're a rip-off. I think they're absolute rip-off myself. I don't think they got enough credibility. And I think that the way you can just swab the dog and send it in there, I think the way you can just swab the dog inside the mouth and send it in there is just open for cheating, for people who will cheat. And there is people out there. Years and years ago, no one would have bought a dog out of Ernison or Ian Openshaw. No one would have bought them if they didn't health test them. Load of rubbish. Some really top quality lines came through there. Is health testing the way forward? What are you going to do if you find your dog's not right? Get rid of it? Half of you wouldn't. You'd put up with it. I enjoy Soul Dogs working with you. I'm nothing about pointers, so that was good. Yes, Soul's got that dog to a good level now. It's really nice to see. It's a pleasure to see. And one of the things Soul said, and it's so important, you work with your dog every day. You don't see yourself improving that 10% or that 5% because sometimes you think you can't remember what he was doing last year compared. But I did see the dog last year, and Soul's dog is a lot better. And Soul is a lot more relaxed with it as well. And that was nice. Tyler Morris, my lab was great at retrieving, and now she's starting to go around me. I've tried to do it in alleyways, but she seems to mess around. How do I prevent this? Back yourself up against the wall. Put your place board in front of you and stand behind the place board, but with a wall behind you. And you start using a place board to get the dog on and off the place board. I like place boards at a later stage in the dog's life, not as a puppy. At the end of the day, you can teach a puppy to sit on a place board, but you're suppressing it from the start. I won't be doing that with Harley Quinn, but you'll be watching every aspect of the training from Harley Quinn. You'll be watching it coming forward. One of the things I was talking to Soul about today, before he went home and left his charger here after telling me he'd searched the caravan, there's nothing left in it. What is he, Sue?
Got everything.
He's got everything. He always leaves stuff.
I was going to say, if you got the charger, and I thought, no, he's a doctor.
He's a doctor. He won't forget that. We can't tell a doctor what to do.
He's intelligent.
Yeah, he's intelligent, she says. Never forgot nothing. One of the things we were talking about is we're going to set up a bit of competition. And we don't care if your dog's not KC registered. We don't care if it's a sprocker, cocker, or a slopper. At the end of the day, we're not worried about breeds. We're worried about the quality of your dog. And we're actually going to set up a little bit of competition. And we might do it in 3 places in the country. And you guys can come along and have a bit of a laugh and a bit of a social, meet Chris Upton, have a bit of a drink. And we might try and arrange that with Alan if he's available. So that Manchester will be one stop. And I've got somebody further up who's offering me a venue. And we might set up a little test between people who want to see how good their dogs are. Because my judging experience and my knowledge of what you're doing and the fact that I don't do favors for anybody, the best dog on the day will win. Hello, Darren, how are you? It's important to me that these dogs are given a chance to run in these competitions. and the Kennel Club want to dictate to us. And I think the Kennel Club are going in the wrong direction. There's some great little sprockers out there, and I'd like to see a mixed bag of gun dogs having a chance to run in competition under sort of the same sort of conditions and rules as but non-Kennel Club official test. I'm not involved with the Kennel Club anymore, so I can do what I like. They can't do nothing about it. All they want to do is monetize everything, and everything's got to be under their rules. This will be under simple rules of, I want to see like working dogs in the field. I want to see dogs that will work in the field. I'm not interested in just competition dogs that don't really work in the field, but they're just set up for competitions, and they protect them so much. I want to see those dogs and people have a laugh and people have a bit of fun. Richard Gold, you put up a video of a dog that was very independent and was distracted and focused on moving traffic on the road. You what? So I've got to press this now. Look, it's not working again, so I don't know. I can't. It says Seymour, and I can't see it. All I got is, hang on. I thought it said you toss her. It said you toss the ball towards G traffic, and the dog retrieved. What if it hadn't and went stubborn and gone after it? Well, the dog would have been on a long line, so I would have got after the dog on the long line. I put the dog in a situation where it had a double stranded fence, and I'd watched it with the retrieving and knew I could get the retrieving back on it. So it would have had a long line on it or a lead on it, and I would have already tried that and seen what the focus was like. You've got to let dogs go wrong to put them right. That dog, Richard, I've just put up a number of videos, and there's about another 30 videos to go up about that dog. I'll tell you a little story. I sold that dog at 12 months of age. No, I sold that dog as an 8-week-old puppy. At 12 months of age, the owner contacted me and said, "You've sold me a deaf dog." And I said, "What?" He said, "You've sold me a deaf dog. I'm really upset." I said, "Well, I'm so sorry." I said, "I generally, they didn't think there's anything wrong with the dog. It was vet checked." I said, "But hey, things can happen." I said, "It hasn't had an ear infection or anything like that, has it?" No. He said, "I've had dogs before." He said, "But this dog is completely deaf. We've been to the vets, and the vet said it's deaf." I said, "Well, the only thing I can do is I offer you money back or give you another dog." "No, I don't want my money back." He said, I don't want another dog. He said, "I want to keep it." I said, "Well, I won't give you your money back if you want to keep the dog. It's not my fault." He said, "We love the dog." I said, "Yeah, but if you bring the dog back and there's something wrong with it, I'll give you money back or another dog." I said, "But I won't give you money back if you're not bringing it back." Anyway, he came from Exmoor. I won't mention his name. Lovely chap. Came down here with the dog, took it in the conservatory. I got a little small table. I knocked the table over, and the dog jumped out of its skin. There you go, Richard Gould. Thanks, Chris. So that was the deaf one. Not deaf, not at all. So doesn't it show, doesn't it? You took the dog to a vet. The vet said it's deaf, but no, the dog just wasn't listening. And guess what? Over the years, I've probably seen 20 or 30 dogs like that, completely taking no notice of anyone. And you clap your hands, they still don't even look back because they've taken over completely. That dog trained up beautiful with me and went on to win competition with the owner. How about that? And that dog is a much loved dog, and they've been successful in competition with it. And she was beautiful. And we got more videos of that to come up. And the nice thing is we're going to be putting these videos in the categories. So you're going to see Wiz from his young days right through. I've got all that footage. You've got the three amigos. I'm going to stick them all into a category so you can see that. You've got Harley Quinn. You've got a number of dogs, clients' dogs that have been here training. Sam Merrick's dogs, they've been here training and trained a number of them. I've got all that old footage. But guess what? I'm inundated at the moment with customers. So I'm running around like an headless chicken. I'm up all hours. All hours.
Yes, Alan says. What did we say?
57 people on that channel, YouTube, and 36 on.
Yeah, Alan says, I get up at 4:45 a.m. and it says Chris Upton is posting bloody videos.
Yeah. And you know how I can do that? It's because of my early sailing days. I used to sail single-handed, and you can learn to catnap and sleep during a couple of hours during the afternoon and get your energy back. And then when it's quiet in the morning and Sue's snoring her head off, I can just get up and do some editing and reading some emails and answering some emails. What I've got to say to everybody is this. If you come onto Patreon, I will answer your questions as much as I can. But my now focus is on the Patreon customers, the paying customers. So if you send me an email and you want me to answer your questions, I won't be answering your questions on emails. I won't be answering your questions on YouTube or Facebook. I will be answering the questions on Patreon. If you want a lesson with me, that's a different kettle of fish. Then I will answer you in Messenger, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. I don't know what Sue's laughing at, but I can't see the screen.
Karen said, in your boat, that's not yours.
Hey?
Karen said, in your boat, that's not yours.
In my boat, that's not mine. Come on, help me, someone.
So, must be something you said. I have got a few, not questions.
In my boat? I'm sure you lot just like to throw a spanner in the works.
You said single-handed sailing.
On my boat. And that's what I used to do. I used to own a number of boats, and I used to do single-handed sailing. And what happens is, if you're sailing across the Atlantic and you're single-handed, you can't stay awake all the time. So you cat nap and you learn to sleep very light. And that, now I know what you're saying. And that's what I've learned to do you train your mind. Maggie Thatcher used to be able to just have 4 hours sleep a night and get up and work. And I find that when you're put under pressure, sometimes you bring your best work out, but then you get into a routine of not being able to sleep, and it just wakes you up automatically. So when it wakes you up automatically, you've just got to get on with it, don't you? And that's what happens with pressure when people put pressure on you. And you've got to be in the right frame of mind to train dogs. It's as simple as that. You should never train dogs if you're not in the right frame of mind. It's as simple as that. And so if someone comes to you and they're doing nothing but, driving you crazy, it's sometimes hard to concentrate. So you sometimes not switch off, but you don't give them that 100% in the lesson. And I throw so much into my lessons to get people to a good standard that if I'm not feeling right, if someone phones up and say, can you get a lesson today? I'll just say, no, I can't, because I've got to get my head right for the customers that are coming already on the calendar. And when they come here on the calendar, all I've got to do is switch off and just go, here I am. I've got to concentrate on you. And so the phone going ping, 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 ping. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, so much great support. And people say, I just can't believe the videos have disappeared. And they were just so helpful. And I mean, the letters of support and the messages and the texts has been absolutely fantastic. But it's overwhelming, guys, because there's so many of them. And so if you're trying to answer everybody, you can't answer everybody back. But if you had a reply from me, it's because I'm trying my best to be personal and just say thank you very much for those comments. But it's much appreciated.
There's a few things here.
Okay, so Manuel Martin Barbara. Hi, Chris. In the process of getting field trial bred English Springer Spaniel, the wifey has experience with the showbred, etc., as a big difference in personality and exercise needed. Cheers. Well done. Show lines.
Are there big differences in personality? He's getting a field bred.
Are there? It sounds like you're American. Comes across as like you're American. Hell of a difference in their personality. I mean, the thing is with trial dogs are bred for trainability, not looks. The show lines are looks more than trainability. So there's some people on here that are good trial people, and they breed quality stuff and they sell quality stuff. And what's the point in breeding something if it's not got that mindset? So when we say trainability, we're very careful, and the good people, the purists, look out for the dogs that are well bred, and that's what's important. But with the show lines, you may have a good dog, but guess what? A lot of it is just interbreeding to try and produce the same champion or something similar to that, and it's not on the grounds of what we would call the working lines. Now, the working lines look different, especially in this country, than the show lines. And when you look at one of the Labradors that's qualified for Crufts and stuff like that, the size of them, they're like couch potatoes compared to a working dog. So it's a different stamp of a dog. But I wouldn't go buying. Somebody brought me a Labrador once from the Blind Dog Association and said he wanted it training because it's laid back and it's trainable. It was laid back, all right. Jesus Christ, it was laid back. But I like drive. I like the dogs with drive. And if you don't suppress that drive, then there's nothing better than watching a decent dog with drive. Hello, Penelope. How you doing? Paul Jarvis, thanks, Chris. Need to dash break time over 3 hours, drive back. See you later, Paul. Thank you. What dummy launcher would you recommend? Well, I use I forget the name of it, to be honest with you, but it goes hell of a way. But I use Turner Richards for years and years and years. They're all right as well. It's just a matter of looking on the internet. I like the one I've got because you can put it in your shoulder and it's a trigger. It's all right. The wife is coming in. I thought she was going to speak to you all then for a second. I thought she was getting brave. We know that, Chris. You must be busy, mate. Hell of a busy. And every time someone contacts me and sends me a message, I try and reply to it, but sometimes it's impossible. You can't do it. One-man band. But like I say, I've got to look after those Patreon customers because they got to come first. They're the ones who support me. And we are going to be doing a lot of things in there. We're going to be doing training classes to teach you to become a gun dog trainer if you want to become a gun dog trainer. I'm not saying that I'm going to endorse you. What I'm going to say is I'm going to put you through a course that if you want to actually get to a level that I give you a certificate to say, in my opinion, you are of a good standard. Just one dog, if you train just one dog, I say that one swallow doesn't make a summer. I say this, but you've got to start somewhere. And the problem is, if we don't pass on our knowledge and our understanding, how are people going to understand? Because I don't think the trial world and I don't think the gun dog world is actually being truthful. I think it's disgraceful because of the Kennel Club and their attitude. If they think that you can train everything with love and affection, they're just misleading you, and they're misleading you big time because there has to be correction at some point in that dog's life. I've never ever come across a trainer that can train with love and affection only. One of the guys who did try it, that said he'd try, was John Burgoyne, and lovely bloke. And like I've said to him before, you people before, I used to speak to John for hours on end, and I've always said to him, "Did you ever get round to just training dogs with love and affection only?" Because guess what? I'd love to do that. I'd love to be able to go down the road and say, I can train a dog with love and affection only. But the thing is, I just don't think it's out there. But hey, I may be proved wrong. Someone may come on the internet and go, look, I can train dogs with Smarties. Anyway, so I think the Patreon site's going to get very, very busy in the next 2 weeks because we're going to get locked down in the country, aren't we? Because of this flu virus thing that's going around. So when you get bored and you're stuck in your houses for 15, 16 hours a day and you're fed up with Netflix or playing computer games, you'll be able to come onto the Chris Upton Patreon site and start to learn how to train a dog. Because what's happened is they've had it too good, haven't they? We've been putting out videos for everybody on the internet. Even the haters been watching my videos because they critique them, don't they? And they share them all over the internet. But guess what? From now on, they're going to have to pay. So all we're going to use YouTube for is titillation. Can I say that, Sue?
Of course you can.
Titillation, right? A tickling stick, as Ken Dodd would say. We're going to use a tickling stick for the diddy men.
Or 2 fingers off it on the pay.
So if they want to come in, they have to pay like everybody else. Now, like I said, I wish I had a button in there for all the supporters who supported me because I'd let you in for free. I generally would have. And if I was a millionaire, I'd do this job and not worry about that. But I have to be sensible. And I've got to say, the Peter Kane situation really upset me because of all that hard work that I put into those videos and all the dedication of all these customers coming down here and putting up videos for people to see and letting them see them go wrong and how we get them right. But now we can keep them in a nice private group, can't we? Unless you're coming in and paying, you're not having it. Now, someone might come in, pay for a month, and say they're paying for a year, and then cancel their subscription. They only pay for that week or that month. That's not a problem with me. I don't care. But what I'm saying is, if you want to see my videos from now on, unless they're just short clips to promote the site and myself, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to Larry Cohen, buddy. Hello, Larry. Now, Larry, I've been talking about e-collar training, and Larry Cohen is the man to go and watch his videos on YouTube, on Facebook, and he puts it up for free for you, and he shows you how to do it in a kind, considerate way. Now, I don't agree with everything that Larry does, but he opened my eyes because I used to think the e-collar was a cruel, barbaric tool. Why? Because I'm going back 25 years when the boys were frying dogs and beating the hell out of them with sticks because they weren't getting out of the dog what they wanted. So they thought the dog was thick, and it wasn't the dog that was thick, it was them that were thick. I've seen it all over the years, and I've never had to beat a dog with a stick, and I've never ever put a dog e-collar on a dog and fried it and had it screaming. And at the end of the day, is it something I'm proud of what I've seen? Well, I didn't do it. Have I walked away in disgust and said to them, "You're absolutely disgraceful. You want to try training that dog?" Yeah, I can tell you a story. I had a dog, a friend. I'm not going to say who it was, but he's an A-panel judge, and he bought a dog from Ireland, from a very, very well known line, Norman Blakeney, from Ireland, black and white dog, and the dog was called Merlin's Brook Sherlock. And I heard a dog screaming in the woods when I was walking down through the woods to try and find one of my mates who I was meeting up to train. And there was this dog with an e-collar on screaming. And the reason they put the e-collar on the dog, he was running in and not stopping on the flush. And so they couldn't correct it, so they put an e-collar on it. Now, I'm not going to say names because that's not me. Because at the end of the day, that's history. It's in the past. But I was sickened by it. And I said something, and we're going back 25 years or something like that. And that person said to me in a stroppy way when I told him what I thought, he said, "Well, if you know better, you buy it," because he was having real problems with this dog that he bought, and it was a well-bred dog from a very top man in Ireland. So I said to him, "Well, how much do you want for it?" He said, "Give me what I paid for it." So I gave him £500 for the dog. Took the dog home and trained the dog properly. It took me over a year to stop that dog false pointing, because that dog was petrified that when he went in on the flush to that bird, he was going to be in trouble. Not by me, but by that e-collar. The association with that e-collar and pheasants sent that dog the wrong message. The dog didn't understand what he was being punished for. So he associated the punishment with the bird. And this is the problem. And Larry Crome will say exactly the same thing. He will tell you that people use these tools in a barbaric, stupid manner. And it's our job as professionals to step up to the plate and show you how to use them properly. And if we don't, we ain't doing our job, or we ain't worth the salt that because sometimes in life, you've got to put up stuff to show people the correct way. And that's one thing Larry's done. Now, Larry's got a book out, and that book is a fantastic book to educate people. Now, just because I've done a number of videos now on e-collar training and you see success and you don't see dogs fried and you see how it works the same way as Larry is using it, because don't forget, guys, we teach the behavior. If you're buying, if Larry's got a pet dog and it's not been taught the behavior, he's got to teach the behavior first, and he's tapping on the collar very, very light. What we're saying is, if the dog knows what come here means, you could only have to do half the leash work come here, because you're adding it to the behavior and tapping on the collar very light. And like Larry says himself, and we will agree to disagree, or we might vary things slightly, we have to learn by our mistakes. And I don't want to put mistakes into those dogs. So I've studied and studied and studied. And I think we have reached a stage where there's too much fighting out there in the dog training world. And we need to come together, sensible people, and promote the sport in the right way. Dog training I'm all about, not just gun dog training. And so I have always supported people that I've watched and I like. And with my knowledge I've got a good idea of what's working and what's not working. I seem to be able to visually pick it up. And I watched Larry Crone's videos about the e-collar, and I thought, this is revolutionary. This is different. I've not seen this, because not being funny, not everybody can afford Ivan's video sessions and his the way he sells his business. Fantastic trainer, unbelievable sports genius. They are the film stars of the sport. But guess what? I looked at everything known to man how to train dogs a better way after the shit I got from the fluffies. Not worried about the trial world with the corruption. I just moved on from that. But I wanted to train dogs to a high level and help people. And then when the shit hit the fan about me correcting the dog and smacking its backside, I went out there and looked in such a way in every aspect of training. And I didn't come up with tweet training. I didn't come up with clicker training. I didn't come up with positive only training. I come up with the e-collar is a finer tool than you can imagine if you study it and know how to use it properly. And with my skills and my knowledge in 35 years, I can tell you that I've built that platform of understanding, and now I can read people on the internet and think that guy can train a dog, or that guy has got a good idea there. And I bring those elements together, and I was trying to bring those people together. And that Peter Kane, I wasn't going to name him, but I've named him because I want people to know what he's done, because I had thousands of people saying, how dare he lie, because I told the truth. He contacted me on Messenger. I put it on Facebook for everyone to see. He contacted me on Messenger and he said to me, I love your channel. You put up a load of videos, because I had him in storage. I had him in storage for myself, for my own reference, because I love keeping stuff and going back and watching it, and watching my mistakes and learning. I've got video footage from when I was in my 20s, and I look at it now and I think, you're doing what everyone else is doing who comes to you. So we've all been there. And I'd already won with 2 dogs at that point in competition, in test and trial. I was teaching people in them days. But guess what? I was naive. I was raw. I thought I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't. And then people like John Burgoyne, sit down for hours and discuss with him. I don't have to agree with everything John says, but that's how we move forward. We learn from, each other, and we respect each other for what they've achieved. And I moved from one panel judge to another panel judge. And the more I went from one to another, I realized these people haven't got a clue. And then I realized why. Because they're old school and they're still in that old school level. But they don't want to give up their position in the trial world, so they don't let anybody else through. And that's what they couldn't cope with. They couldn't cope that I was being successful. And so Peter Kane only did the dirty on me because he wants to be the guy on the internet with the most videos. He's got 4,500, but I've got 5,500, and I've been putting them up for the last 10 years on Facebook, on a website, and then YouTube came along, and I wasn't on YouTube, but they took my video off Facebook, off my Facebook page. There were friends on my Facebook page, edited it just the discipline side on one clip, and spread it all over the internet. That created the hatred. So Peter Kane knew what was going on with me. So I was fighting to show people I didn't beat and kick dogs for a living, because I've never done that. My principle for it is so deep, and the desire to prove myself a decent person. I stood my ground, put my head above the parapet, and I've come back. And just as I come back and everyone's following me, 1,000 views on every video I was putting up, 3.5 million views. I mean, Larry would say the same thing. For years, when you start off, it takes ages for it to start rolling. It's like pyramid sales. And then all of a sudden, it starts to escalate. And before you know it, you're charging ahead. And that's what I'm saying is Peter Kane saw that, and he wanted to be at the top of Google search when you put dog trainer. And because my name was at the top of there, because of I put gun dog trainer, and he calls himself a gun dog trainer, he can train dogs. He can train dogs. I don't like his site for the rest of the stuff he puts up there. I'm not interested. So I came off that site about 3 years ago on there. He was talking about using correction. He was talking about using the e-collar. And I didn't see him frying dogs. And I saw dogs responding. And I liked some of his leash work. But, I was thinking he does the same leash work as I do. He uses a tire and a place board. He's a bit of an oddball. And when he contacted me, I said to him, thanks. And he said, I'll share your videos. And I said, thanks, I'll share yours. So that's what I did. I put 12 of his videos up 4 years ago. And now the law has changed with copyright law because of Brexit, and we're come out of Europe. They're now changing it's not American-based company now for us in the UK. It's a UK-based company, the Google or Facebook, whatever you call it. And so that's where it came up. And they contacted him and said, are these your videos? And he went, yeah. Have you given him right to put them up? And he went, no. When in fact he did, and we've got the screenshots. So I don't need to lie. I've never ever monetized my site until now. And I'll tell you what, I can't believe how easy it is to make money when you've got a fan base. Why? Because I gave it you for 10 years and you know what I'm like. You know what my videos are like. And you're going to miss them because you know that Chris Upton puts up quality. Now, I'm not going to put up such quantity, but I'm going to put up quality. But they're going into the Patreon site now, and I've made more money in the Patreon site than not being big-headed than you will in YouTube if you're there for 10 years, because they pay such a small amount. But you can only make money in Patreon if you've got a following. And so I didn't make it expensive. I made it affordable for everybody, affordable for anybody who wants to come in there, because I believe that we all come from different backgrounds. Some of us are wealthy and some of us are not. And so I didn't want to just make it an elitist area for people with lots of money. So I've left it open for you. And that's what I've done. I've left it open for you to come in. If you don't want to come in, I'm not answering your questions because I can't. I'm a one-man band. And I bet you people like Larry or the, other people on here who's got sites that I've seen on here, that they are inundated with stuff. And the same with the friends request. You know, I have to throw people off my friends list to bring new people onto my friends list because they only allow you so many thousand, and people are in there. So on my YouTube site, there isn't anybody being nasty. Andy Cullen watching. Hello, Andy. Good. That's another good trainer. Andy Cullen. I had Sol Galloway here yesterday. He would love to get up on the moors with you and keep in touch with you. And he's got his dog on a good into a good level now. He has spoke to you once or twice, I think, and you've given him advice. He's a good guy. So Andy, if you are listening to that, there is a connection there for you. And that's what I'm doing, everybody. I'm putting people onto dog trainers that I recommend because of what they have done and how they are as dog trainers, people I respect. And I think that's the way we need to go. You know, just because I'm down in sunny Cornwall, if someone's in another area of the country, if I can recommend that trainer to them, I will. You could say, well, you shouldn't do that, Chris, because that's taking money away from you. No, I'm inundated with customers. I'm inundated. I love to help you all, but I can't. My calendar sometimes just can't take you all in. So if I can recommend someone in your area, like we got Darren on here, and he does a lovely group session for people. If that's what you're looking for, group session, I'll put you on to Darren. There's trial people that, you know, you want a good dog. I know so many trial people up and down the country that have got the right connections, and I will be able to help you in that area, because one man can't do it all. But what I've been trying to do for 10 years is build bridges. And you don't build bridges by arguing with every trainer out there, but you do start to build a bit of a understanding of who the decent trainers are. Whether you're whether they're pet trainers, whether they're competition trainers in different aspects of the sport. But I found that the only way that you're going to get a positive result from a dog is if you've got trainers that are using all four quadrants, and they're using punishment as well as praise, as well as kindness, as well as love. But I use 95% fun-based training. Those hate people don't want to talk about that. They're only interested in talking about the 5% discipline and taking the videos and editing them. There's about 5 different Chris Upton sites out there. It's like I'm Spartacus. There's nothing to do with me, those sites. Never have done, but they're editing my videos and putting them up. And yet YouTube won't take them off. So what we're doing with YouTube, we're monetizing that as well. Because when I monetize it with YouTube, and I'm starting to make money for YouTube, then YouTube will start looking after my interest and taking down people who are abusing my videos for copyright. That's what they're doing with Peter Kane. Peter Kane will sit on the internet all night talking absolute garbage. Some of you have been in there and told me and seen it, and I've been in there and watched it because I've made a few comments to him saying that, you know, at the end of the day, Peter, if you don't sort this out like a gentleman, you know, you're going to get some bad press. He's going to get some bad press because I know how to work the internet. I can send him some bad press, but guess what? I do it in a very sensible manner. I tell the truth. I show him for what he is. I am no competition to Peter Kane in America as a gun dog trainer. I don't take people at business away from Peter Kane, or I never have wanted to. And I've never tried to make money out of Peter Kane or make myself famous through Peter Kane. I generally shared his videos because he came to me and said he was sharing mine. So there you go. Peter Kane gives the impression he's gone he's got some mental health issues. I 100% agree. And he was mad enough, 5 years ago, like eccentric, but he's gone absolutely a little bit wacky. And I do believe that the internet can become so addictive that if you're not careful, it can turn minds the same as, some people can smoke cannabis and not have a problem, and other people, will get mental problems. And I think the internet has got the same problem. I think he is that obsessed with making money. He goes on there and talks such garbage to try and pull in a certain criteria. One of the things that a few people have said to me is you need to moderate yourself a little bit, Chris, with your language, because at the end of the day, you swear a little bit. It's the environment I come from originally, but when I do get ladies here, sometimes I try to moderate myself. But other people say, no, we want you to be you, Chris. That's why we tune in. I don't want to be the Gordon Ramsay of the dog training world, but I like having a laugh. I like being me, and yes, I have the odd drink, as you all know. Vimto or Vimeo, but I'm dyslexic, and that's why sometimes my spelling's not right, and that's why sometimes I've got these crazy ideas, and sometimes I need to be reined in a little bit. But it's passion, it's creative desire. I mean, I don't know if any of you saw the Soul video up on the hill. I put a bit of music with it. Why? Because the music sells it. But now I've got one ready to go onto Facebook, no YouTube, with no music on it, so we're not going to get touched for copyright. Because in my Patreon site, I've got more freedom to do what I want to do because I'm not sending it out to the world. But at the end of the day, I don't want to break any rules. I don't want to break any laws, but the laws of copyright is quite strange because there's people copying my videos and critiquing them, and no one's getting in trouble for it. People have done it to other trainers on here and rubbished them. Guess what? They're getting away with it. And yet I get wiped off the internet with 5,500 videos disappear overnight without any warning, no right of action to protest or have the videos frozen. They were on there for 4 years and no one said nothing about them. But they were so far down the list, no one was ever seeing them anyway. So if they had 200 views, they had 200 views. It was promoting Peter Kane. And yet you should see the emails I sent him. And when he kicked off, he's just a little shit. So there's no point in getting angry and aggressive. It was a kick up the arse, and the right people came to my aid, and I'll always be in their debt. They said, come on, Chris, you've done it again. Get up and get on with it, boy. And that's what I've done. And I'm feeling so much better. But your support was absolutely fantastic. But you people had me in tears, and I'm a strong guy, right? But you had me in tears, not because I'm feeling sorry for myself, but because of your wonderful comments about that. My videos have changed your life and they've changed you around with your dog. So that's why I'm saying is I'm going to be still on YouTube promoting the beginning and the after, like so many trainers do. But if you want the middle, you've got to come over to Patreon because I'll show you the full package, how to train a dog from start to finish. And that's what I love doing. That's my passion, teaching people. And it's been my passion all along. I just love watching somebody improve with a dog. Whether it was when I was trialing and I got people winning who was training with me, winning tests and trials. That was my buzz. Once you've done it yourself, it was nice to then bring youngsters on and say, right, copy this, do that. And then they go out and win with the dog and watching their little faces. Now, there's an old saying, isn't there? Someone said this to me the other day. It's like the Roman Empire. They want to take down the top guy. So if you pass on all your information to a person below you, some of them will shit on you and some will love you for the rest of their lives. And I've had that. Over the years, I've trained people to a reasonable standard. Next minute, they're taking in dogs for training around here. And I thought, you dirty scab. You're not a professional trainer. You're working, and yet you're taking business away from me instead of saying, go to Chris Upton because he helped me. But hey, it's a free world, isn't it? You've got to do what you want to do in life. And so there's no point in barking at every little dog that snaps at your ankles. I put the videos up because I want you people to understand that they're there for you. I want you to learn and have a better relationship with your dogs. This is more important than being a film star. I wanted to be the other end of the camera, and that's what I wanted to be. Anyway, I don't know why I was rambling. Sue says I've got to shut up rambling and answer some questions.
No, it's just.
Come on then, Sue.
No, it's just. Well, I don't know who said, but Borgia Martin said He says, "Hi Chris, I have been offline for a while and just saw everything that happened to your channel. Found your solution to be awesome. Just wanted to let you know that you've got a mass of supporters and you should see a new patron over here soon."
And that's wonderful. I mean, I don't know if you heard that, what Sue read out, but that's what's been coming through, everyone.
He does say, "I'm still waiting for the Corleone Gundog hats. Ha ha."
Yeah, we could do some promotion stuff for you. I might get a load of hats and that, and we'll have a bit of competition. But that's going to happen in Patreon. We've got a fantastic setup in Patreon. We can screen share. I can put up a video for you all to watch. I'm just going to press this button for a minute. If we disappear, good night, everyone. But I'm just going to see what happens because I don't know what's going to happen.
Karen says he'll have a Corleone cup.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to your entire screen, application window, the entire screen. Let's go there, shall we? So should we show you what I'm showing? I don't know. Hang on. Screen share, it says your entire application window, Chrome tab. I don't know what that means. Oh, what does that mean? Your questions, your answers? I don't know. If I put this up here, can you see that? Can you see that? So now I'm looking at YouTube and I can see the screen in front of me. Can you see that? Or are you still watching me?
Still watching you at the moment.
Yeah, so like I say, I've got to learn to use this properly, but it says I'm live. I've gone onto YouTube and I can actually see myself live on YouTube with all the questions. And there we go. Daniel Quinn. Hello, Secret Sue. Tell Chris to read my private Facebook message from me. I want to see his face. Oh, there you go.
Charlie Tango 1 says there's a parcel in the post and you should be getting it tomorrow.
Right. So at the moment then, Sue, I'm watching on my big screen. I'm watching myself on Facebook with the questions down the side. So that's good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch this one off for a second. This one here, because I was just explaining to you. I should be lifting it up now any second because there's a lag on it there. There you go. Look, I'm watching that, so I can switch that off. We've got facilities now on this thing, so we can have one-to-one. I can give you a password. I can give 5-6 people a password, and you can come into a training class with Chris Upton. I can actually show you videos on the screen of everything what's happening and going on. But it's a matter of learning how to work this site. And like I said, I am dyslexic, and it might take me a couple of seconds. A couple of seconds. I wish it did. A couple of weeks. But we can actually have Patreon conversations only with just our Patreon group. We can also split the screen and show you videos and critique those videos, because I think that Chris Fraze gave me an idea that it's great to critique somebody's video, but in a group where everyone's watching it like-minded and it's not getting personal. And at the end of the day, I think that by watching what he does and how he can control the screen, that gave me the idea. That's what I would like to do. So I can split the screen and have Larry or anybody come on, have Penny come on, anybody come on and give their side of what's been happening in the dog world. And at the end of it, I think it's gonna revolutionize the way we educate on the internet, because I think that that's the only way forward. We need to educate. But unfortunately, this package has cost me quite a lot of money for the year up front. And I've taken a big gamble, because I am a gambler. I enjoy gambling. If I say I'm going to take your dog in and I don't get it right, you get your money back if I don't get it right. It's as simple as that. That's how I am as a person, right? I've always done that. And that way you keep in with everybody in the way you are as a person when you train. And then you've got nobody you can come on the internet and tell. Well, they do say some stupid stuff about me, but you don't see people coming on there and saying, that's how I am as a person. See what I'm saying? Right. Now I've got sound on that, and that way you keep in with everybody in the way you are as a person when you train. You've got nobody you can come in. So I'll just turn that down. So like I say, I've got no one in my history. Jay Booker, when I bring Dougie down to you, Chris, on the 4th of April, I think he would be a great dog to use in training videos. That's exactly it. And there was a lady, I'm not going to mention who it was. She came down recently, and you've been watching some of the videos. I'm not going to mention her name. I'm not there to rubbish anybody. But she told me she wanted me to take the dog in last 2 days ago and train the dog. And I was going to do that for her. and she was going to get a regular video update of this dog because she was struggling with this dog. Lovely dog. And a lot of you have said, no, stick with it, train it, don't sell it. And you're right. But at the end of the day, it's down to each individual. And if you're not able to get a good trainer in your area who can help you and give you knowledge, then you're not going to train the dog to the next level. And that's the problem. People seem to get the dog to about 70% off my videos. And that last 30% is the bit you need that extra polish with. But, you know, when people come down to me with a dog at 8 months old and I see it and I think, wow, you've done a fantastic job, look at that. And then we give them to work what to work on next. You can't beat one-to-one training. I agree 100% with some of the things that Jamie Penrith says. And I understand what Danny Wells was on about when he was saying, no, Jamie's saying the best option is one-to-one. Of course it is. One-to-one, you can't beat one-to-one. But we still need to educate out there and give you people the tools to realize that you mustn't abuse these tools or use them like other people show you, because there's too many charlatans out there, these great pretenders who think they know what they're doing on the internet and they don't. And that's why I've always put up the start, the middle, and the ending to show you how to get these dogs right. And I've been saying for a number of weeks, haven't I? You know, what are you more interested in? Are you interested in the whole video, how to problem solve, how to get over these problems, or do you want the glossy bit? You know, the start when the dog's all messed up, and then the end bit, look what I've done. Well, that's what we're doing now. We're going to give them the start, and we're going to give them the end, and then we're going to give them the middle on Patreon. And that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to pay for that if that's what they want. If they want that, they're going to have to pay for it. At the end of the day, that's what we're there for. I'm there to help people understand. If you want to learn, I'll give you the tools to learn. I'll give you the information. I'll give you the wisdom. But if you're not interested, it's the same as we've got Daniel Quinn. Look, he's asking a number of questions on here and having a laugh. No problem at all. Hang on just a second, please, Sue. I'm trying to keep it. It's very difficult when I got in the back trying to freaking prod me with a stick. Because I'm dyslexic, not that I'm being rude to Sue. She sometimes doesn't realize I was actually in the middle of saying something, and then what happens? She jumps in and tells me something else. I don't know what she's on about, so I'm going to sit back and listen to Susan. Honestly, it's so difficult. Go on. What do you?
Tyler Morris, she said she wanted to know whether there's only good trainers in the southeast that you can recommend.
When you say the southeast, Tyler Morris, you're going to have to Kent. Yeah, there's a few trainers in Kent that I help, and there's a few people in there I might be able to put you onto. It depends what your problem is. You would need to be in Patreon. You need to tell me.
I think she is, because that was the one that she had us in tears last week with her comments.
Oh, you had us in tears last week with your comments, Tyler.
I've known you since you were 11 years old.
Oh, you've been following me since you were 11. Bloody hell. Paul Crocker, I'm in Suffolk, so probably too far away for recommendation. And what I'm saying is going back to see Daniel Quinn's comment. We put the video up about books. I don't know. I think it was in Patreon, and it may have been in YouTube as well, about books. And someone said, a number of people said Daniel wasn't looking very interested when you were talking about the books. I can tell you, Daniel was absolutely knackered. We'd worked him into the ground, and he was absolutely goggle-eyed with working on the internet, answering questions and helping me out. And so I don't look at it, but I did see it, and I thought, yeah, he doesn't seem to be that interested in the book. I don't know if he reads books, but guess what? If he wants to be a good dog trainer, you have to grab every bit of knowledge you can and run with it, soak it in, and then decide what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. But you can't just read one book and become a dog trainer. You can't train one dog and become a dog trainer. It takes a lot more than that, everybody. And that's what I'm saying. You know, I've trained thousands of dogs, and each dog is different, but there is a system that you follow, and that system gets easier and easier the longer you do it. You start to read a dog like a good horseman can read a horse. You can read where there's a breakdown, and you can work on it straight away. That comes with time. That doesn't come with wanting to be an overnight sensation on the internet because I want to be a dog trainer. That takes time. And what you've got to do is you've got to eat humble pie for a few years, get your head down and train dogs and learn. And don't think that just one dog will turn you into a dog trainer. Some people seem to have a natural ability and some people haven't. Some people it doesn't matter how many dogs they train, would struggle like crazy with each different dog. I've had people here who've trained their dog week in and week out and got their dog to a very, very good standard, competition winning standard, but their next dog, they're lost because he's completely different and you have to change your format of training to a certain extent. And that's the real skill, is reading people. A good trainer can read people, know how far he can push them, know how far he can't push them. And at the end of the day, it takes years. Now, I said, well, I've been building a platform on the internet for 10 years. Yes, I have. But I've actually been building a platform for over 35 years because I started off in tests, scurries. I love the scurries, love the fun of that, taking dogs to these shows, country shows, and winning all them. I was good at that. Then I started winning in tests, and then I started winning in trials. Then I was judging. Then I was taking training classes, and I thought I'd made it. I thought, that's it. I'm going to be famous in the dog training world. And then the shit hit the fan with the jealousy, with the cheating. The more you see, the more you realize that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that needs to be addressed and talked about, but in a very sensible manner, not with anger and bitterness. And I've grown away from the anger and bitterness, but I say it the way it is. And that's why people seem to like me. So why should I change? Because some people, a small percentage, say, I want you to be more professional. I don't want you to be like this. But I totally understand. I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. That's the price you pay. I can't be everybody's cup of tea. But I try and be me. And like it or not, if you don't like it, don't join. If you do like it, that's why you're here. You're having a bit of a laugh with me. That's right. I'm flicking up through the questions at the same time because this is so much easier now. I'm actually on YouTube, although I'm sending this through Vimeo. See, everyone laughs at me about that. Vimeo. Chris Wheelhouse, lovely guy. No gloss, Chris. We want the details, and I'm happy to pay for your videos. Thank you very much. And do you know what, Chris? You're the guys who really, I would like to say, that there's a special place in there for you guys who spent money, come down here and give people your videos to learn from. Just like apprentice to a tradesman, Chris. Yes, it is, Richard, but that's the problem. It's not out there, is it? It's not out there because everything's a quick fix these days, isn't it? You do a 12-week-old course and then all of a sudden I'm a dog trainer. You're not. You're not. You have to start at the bottom and you have to work hard. I'll tell you a little story. When I had a record shop, I had a lad come along who looked like he had a Mohican. He had holes in his ears. He wore punk rock clothing. And he said, can I have a job in the record shop? Now, all kids want to work in a record shop. We like music. And he was into his punk and his new wave and he was quite eccentric. And his name was Chris. And he said, can I, any chance of a job? I said, no, I got 4 staff. I'm not taking anybody else on at the moment. He said, well, they're doing a job apprentice thing that the government will pay half the wages if you take me on for 6 months and then train me up and then you'll get half the wages. So I thought, okay, he's dead desperate for it. So I did. So one of the jobs I used to give him, I used to like gambling. So he was 21. He was a youngster. So he was 21. So I used to send him to the bookies. Because why? Because I was running the shop. So I used to write the bet on a piece of paper, put the money in an envelope and send him up the road to the bookies. So on a Saturday, I could sit out the back in the office, watch the racing and watch all the security cameras while all the staff were working. And then one day, somebody from the job centre came in and they said, can I have a word with you about Chris, the lad you got working for us on job experience or something, job seekers or something like this. I said, yeah. He said, we've had a bit of a complaint. I said, yeah. He said, he doesn't think it's in his job description to go to the bookies for you and put a bet on. I said, well, I disagree. He said, why? I said, because you listen to the boss and do what you're told. I'm not suggesting he puts money on those horses, but I've given him a job. And if I want him to run up the bookies and put a bet on for 5 minutes, if it's not going to bother, he's going to listen to me. It's part of his job description. Listen to the boss. Do as you're told. And he said, well, I don't think that's in the job description. I said, well, tell him to get his coat and sod off. Because I want people working for me who want to work for me. I don't want someone dictating that he wants to sit on the till or he wants to listen to music and play music all day. If you want a job that bad, you roll up your sleeves and get on with it and prove to the boss that you're worth employing. Else you're going down the road in 6 months' time. And guess what? The bollocking he got from me when that guy went, he had a choice. He could have left or he could have stayed. Well, he made a great employer because he got his head down and he did as he's bloody told. And that's the way you've got to go. If I was abusing something with a young lad or enticing him to gamble, that would be a different thing. And I'm telling you that as a train, if you want to get on with people and learn, sometimes you just sort of wind your neck in, get on and learn. And that's what it's about. And that's what I'm having to do. I'm having to learn. I'm having to learn how to carry on doing this latest internet stuff. But 35 years I've built to do this as dog trainer, as working out how to work the internet. I'm not that good because I'm dyslexic, but I've built my own websites. It's part and parcel of the new dog trainer. You've got to be able to sell yourself. You've got to be able to get out there and sell yourself, but not be false. Because I think people are realizing that these people out on the internet, in these gun dog groups, there's so many of them, are false. And that's what I'm saying to you. So I'm just trying to give you some insight. Robert Jeffrey, you're like Yorkshire tea, Chris, full of flavour and the real McCoy by Eck Petal. Daniel Quinn, you've got to get down and dirty, as we say, mate. Yep, you've got to be able to roll up your sleeves and crack on with it. Go on then, Sue, carry on.
You'll be able to answer this, I think.
Who is it?
Dave Cowling. It's way up. It's like 8:20.
8:20, Dave Cowling.
Are you okay with a dog standing to the stop whistle in the field?
Well, that's funny, that is, because Daniel Quinn can answer that question for you, Dave Cowling. Oh, not Daniel Quinn. Yes, it can. Yeah, Daniel Quinn, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what Daniel said. He said, I'm not worried about the dog sitting as long as the dog stands. But I said, well, the next movement from sitting is moving. So if you've got your dog in the sit position and you insist on that, then if the dog goes to move, it's got to get into the position of standing. If it's standing, it can run in hell of a quick. And so that's why I'm saying to you is I always get those young dogs to sit. Once you've got an older dog, it doesn't really matter so much. But I still like to see that arse down on the floor. I really like that. It's got to park its arse. There you go. There you go, Daniel Quinn. It's got to park its arse. And you only learn by your mistakes. And I've seen many a time where someone thought the dog's steady and then all of a sudden it's not. It's obedience, but it's obedience at the right time. And if you can get the dog to park its backside because it enjoys the game, then it's going to park its backside better than discipline. But a short, sharp correction at the right time will sharpen that up. And then you'll have a dog that will park its arse because it goes, I want to play the game, and you're being serious. And that's what it's about. That's what it's all about. Anyway, you lot, Chris Upton's.
Sean,
Chris,
Sean here.
Is Sean in the house?
Yeah, you should be proud of what you built, Chris. Hopefully you can remember the first session Nala and I had with you and where we are now with her. Buzzing to be coming back next weekend.
Yeah, I'll be in my dark room, Sean, when you come back.
No, hang on.
I'll be in my dark room, mate. And the reason is I've had such an odd 2 weeks. Some people are a little bit more. You need to get a little bit more hands-on with them and get the best out of them. And some people pick it up very quickly, and some people don't. But I love Sean's enthusiasm. Sean is one of them guys who wants every question answered about everything because he wants instant access to your brain. And my brain don't work like that, unfortunately, and especially when I'm tired and especially when I'm worn out. So I'm going to get a few early nights for you, Sean, because I know you're going to be giving me a freaking headache. But I love your enthusiasm. I love your keenness. But your skills of leading me through a fence, through a gate post is freaking useless. Bloody garage owner. He says, come on, keep coming. Whoa. Oh, I think you hit the post. A bit late, wasn't it, Sean? But hey, mate, accidents happen, don't they? But I can't wait to see her. I hope she's ready. I hope she's ready for me. Now, one of the things that I always do is I give 100% commitment into my lessons. And it's not physical, it's mental. And so when I give those lessons, I have to literally calm down, switch off, because I'm passionate with what I do. I put so much into it. I've watched other people before, and I think it's like watching paint dry. That bloke's just going, okay, when I throw the dummy, send the dog. And I think, you ain't told him nothing. Anyone can stand there throwing dummies. The thing is, I put so much into it, my heart and my soul, because I'm passionate in what I do. So, but I want to thank you guys out there who supported me. And it's not been a 10-year master plan. It's been a 35-year dream to be able to pass on my knowledge and my understanding. And like I say, we may now have the platform to do that, and we may have the freedom to be an education site more than to titillate you with some of the silliness that I do. And so sometimes you've just got to stop messing around so much as I do and get on with training people and being a bit more serious. So the next person who comes here, I might be a completely different person and handle you completely different and start talking to you in such a beautiful way. And I might become like Victoria Stilwell. I might put a big pair of boots on and a riding crop in my pants. So that's Chris Upton being stupid again, as normal. But he's getting tired now. It's 9:15, and I've got about another 74 videos to put up before you go to bed, children. So thanks very much indeed. Like I said, I'm looking at one format on here. Good night from the US. Max Gibson, good night. Bollocks to you all. Now, for you new people on here, these guys know what bollocks is. Peter Piper, are you coming or are you not? It was a bloody good day today. Obviously, we got you ringed in, but I've not seen the weather forecast. Good night and bollocks to you all. And Chris Upton signing off. And it might take me 15 minutes to press all these freaking buttons and see if I can get off this site. But like I say, we've had 50 on this one, and we've had, let's have a look on Facebook. What have we had on Facebook? Anybody still on Facebook? Well, I haven't seen any. We've got 72 comments on there. And the nice thing about Facebook is I can actually run back through and answer some of your questions on there. But like I said, if you're a Patreon customer, you'll get your questions answered on Patreon. But I can't answer everybody's questions. But I still will do my best. It says we've only got 16 on there. But I think it's closed off to, I don't think we've had any silly comments on there like we did last week. So thanks a lot, everyone, for tuning in. That's Chris Upton signing off. We're going to start bringing people in and splitting the screen and having a debate and a talk and all that sort of stuff. But we're going to be doing so much more on Patreon. We're going to be running competitions. We're going to be doing training seminars. That's where all that information is going to be out there, not for Joe Public to see. It's a closed group, and it's a group of like-minded people that have got the same interest, that will use discipline, but obviously love their dogs crazy. And we're not having any nastiness on there, and we're not having any bolshiness on there. Everybody's entitled to debate. Everybody's entitled to a difference of opinion, but I want a nice group of people because that's what I've always wanted. And I'm fed up with fighting with idiots. And so guess what? Chris Upton is taking a new direction. He's looking after his paid up customers. So good night, everyone. Chris Upton signing off. And Chris Upton's going to try and press the buttons. The buttons. Here goes live Facebook. Here goes YouTube. Leave the site. And here goes Vimeo. End event. Vimeo, not